Hi, my name is Thelma Richardson, and I will be presenting to you my social studies lesson plan. The philosophical foundations and NCSS. The content used in my lesson plan aligns with the philosophical foundations of social studies and NCSS because it is student-centered and promotes active learning environment for all students while focusing on inquiry. This lesson plan was designed so that students inquire about the world in which they live in. Additionally, students will learn about the present and past through primary and secondary sources, which are presented in this lesson plan. The three pillars in NCSS are present as students build onto these pillars, which support teaching and learning in the classroom. As students engage in their bell work, they will look at this map and immediately begin to ask questions. Students will learn to develop their own questions about what they see. Later on in the lesson, they will be able to apply what they have learned using the tools provided to evaluate both sources while looking for supporting evidence. Next, students will be able to communicate what they have learned to others and take action if necessary. These maps allow students to make connections as they can identify where they live and which region they live in. As students learn about primary and secondary sources through turn and talks with their peers, this visual will be displayed to further student understanding of both sources. The teacher will continue to scaffold student understanding by asking questions according to the lesson plan. How can you identify a primary or secondary source? Can you distinguish between a primary or secondary source? There are several tasks included in the lesson plan. These activities are differentiated to meet the various needs of students, which also aligns with NCSS. Students are utilizing technology to research information on the 5 regions as they are working collaboratively in groups to research information that will later be used to reteach to their peers. This aligns with the philosophical foundations of social studies as students engage in primary and secondary sources to further understand the credibility of these sources. Decision-making is also happening as students work collaboratively in groups. They're deciding their roles, figuring out who is doing what. The teacher will continue to scaffold, which will provoke students to think critically as they are working through these tasks. At the end of the lesson, student understanding can be collected with this particular exit ticket. Students will think critically, which closely aligns with the philosophical foundations of social studies. Students will recall information, and in number 3, this will allow students to make a connection and think about how one of the regions connects to their daily lives. After learning standards, students will be assessed using formative as well as summative assessments. This particular assessments allows students to recall peer teaching and their collaborative group activity as they engage in learning about the 5 regions of the U.S. Students engage as they identify sources. They will need to recall the difference between both types of sources. The summative assessment will be provided to students as it is standards-based, teacher-created, so that students can represent what they have learned and demonstrate their ability to use information accurately. This assessment should reflect the thinking and the research skills that were acquired during the process of learning these standards. In conclusion, the philosophical foundations and NCSS are important so that students can learn to think critically, analyze, engage, and better understand their local community, state, nation, and the world in which they live in. Thank you.